right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday. And this one of our weekly tastings, or bi-weekly tastings at Cafe Maxx. Not every week, we couldn't keep up with that. Every other week, Wednesday night, we do a tasting. And it's a different theme every Wednesday night. I always say it's the best deal that we have in any tasting we do. You get to taste 8 wines for 35 bucks and get a little taste of Oliver Saucy's cuisine there, one of the greatest restaurants in South Florida in the world. Oliver Saucy's been there at the helm since 1987, and to me, you'll find no better food than what you get at Cafe Maxx anywhere. So one of the few chef-operated restaurants left here, owned and operated. So every other Wednesday night, we mix it up. We do some wines. And Piedmont is my bag, baby. So you know if we're doing a Piedmont tasting, we're showing Barolo, we're showing Barbaresco, and we're probably not going to show Dolcetto, all right? So we started out with a little sparkling wine. Most people don't realize they make a lot of sparkling wine in the Piedmont, and some of the best examples of light, easy-to-drink sparklers that you'll have. Most of them have a little sweetness to them. This Elvio Grangia Rosado, one of the most unique that I've ever had. It's a blend of Barbera, Moscato, and Fresa, and it's slightly frizzante. The Moscato's frizzante, and they add the Fresa and Barbera in as still reds. Did I get that right? Anyways, wow, a really interesting red, really beautiful bouquet here. Light cherry and strawberry fruit, hints of rose petals, and a very pretty bouquet of aromas, really forward and juicy on the tongue. That red berry fruit, smooth silky bubbles, a light refreshing rosé, really pleasant, and $12.50. Are you kidding me? How do these people make any money? All right, Negro. Next up is our Roero Arnaz, the hardest appellation in the Piedmont to produce for me to pronounce. This is from 50-year-old vines. Arnaz is one of the typical white varietals you found. It used to be grown in between the vines of Nebbiolo, and today people make single varietal wines from it, and they're very good, very mineral driven, kind of chalky notes of the green apple, lemon, citrus fruit, really bright and focused here. Nice intensity, that lemon fruit with some green melon in there as well. Smooth and creamy on the tongue, that minerality, adding some texture to the wine, and very refreshing there. Long finish on this one. This is really excellent juice at $28. Some of the most interesting wines in the world, especially in the white category, with unique varietals, come from Italy, in my opinion. All right, now up to the reds. Yes, just 2 little warm-ups, and then on to the Cantin Valpaine Grignolino. Hey, just when you think you know every grape in the world, a new one comes along. And man, I love the Piedmont. I can't believe I've never had this varietal before, but an interesting story where the name comes from here. But wow, this wine had a lot of fans at this tasting. And kind of a sour cherry cranberry fruit, a little hint of that tar and truffle you get from the earth there. Really light and easy drinking red, probably really nice, slightly chilled. You have that little truffle note on the finish. A real crowd pleaser, but uniquely Piedmont's. Very good little wine at 19 1/4. All right, Guido Porro, Barbera di Alba up next. And this is a very small producer from Lazaretto. And they've got a really limestone-rich vineyard there in the Serralunga, the Alba region. And they've been there since the 1600s. I don't know, am I reading this right? The family could have been around that long. Anyways, a very important landholder in this region, and these guys make a very forward and seductive style of Barbera in 2012. Wow, beautiful cherry pie fruit on the nose, hints of black earth, really appealing, kind of simple, but very just lovely, jumps out of the glass at your nose, and that juicy fruit following through on the palate, smooth tannins, nice freshness at the end, a real crowd pleaser, a very good little bottle of Barbera for $22.50. All right, the Monseco Protagrande Nebbiolo from Colline Novaresi. Now we're getting into the meat and potatoes here, the 2 light reds, and then some serious stuff made from the Nebbiolo varietal. And, this is a DOC wine, so you can put Nebbiolo on the label, and it's north of the appellations of Barolo and Barbaresco, up near Gemme, another area that produces Nebbiolo-based wines. And this wine's got a good amount of earth to it, truffle, exotic spices, dried floral notes, red berry fruit. Really lovely rustic quality to the finish here on this wine as well. Nice hand of dirt, we like to say, with truffle and tar, but a lot of fruit here to match, and lovely silky, velvety texture on the tongue. Turning a bit dry at the end. You could keep this wine for 10 years easily. Most excellent juice for $28. Wow. All right, the Negro Roero, the hardest appellation for me to pronounce, comes up again here, twice in one tasting, and since 1670, yes, I'm reading that right, the Negro family has been cultivating vineyards in the Roero Hills, and this wine, 2010 vintage, really stood out. This 2010 vintage is really special. It has got, just goes the extra mile on the palate in terms of length, and this wine's got lovely concentration and richness on the nose, red cherry fruit, light kind of smoky fruity, earthy notes, tobacco spice, flowers. Really, like I said, a strong vintage in the Piedmont. Thick and chewy red cherry liqueur showing through on the tongue with silky smooth tannins and just lovely richness and nice kind of layered finish here. Nice earth, spice, and floral notes. Excellent juice at $34.50. A great example of Nebbiolo from that Roero region. All right, Cantini di Glicine, Barbaresco Vigna Sparse. And this is a small producer from the Nieve, and their winery dates back to 1510. Are you kidding me? Wow, really old for this region, and really tiny estate. You know, they have vineyards in the townships of Cura, Marcarino. They're scattered throughout the Nieve area. They produce about 9,000 bottles of this, and thus the name Vigna Sparse. This wine's got a classic bouquet of that exotic spice, dried floral, red cherry, liqueur-like fruit. Really pretty bouquet, and a really clean style. They make this in cement fermenters. Really delicious tart red cherry fruit on the tongue with an array of spice and that tongue-tingly minerality on the finish. This is still very young, but already very showy. Some pretty floral notes at the end, that lovely spice. This should be better with a few years, but like I said, pretty delicious right now, the most forward of all these wines, and it's still very young. Excellent juice at $40.75. Then the big boy, the Odero Barolo, and this is a blend of 3 different vineyard sites, Barolo, Chesa, Capolat, and Bricco Fiasco. So it's Barolo Chesa, just one. Sorry, that's the 3. And Bricco is the highest part of the hill. That's what that refers to. This wine has got the largest production by far here at Odero. They make 40,000 bottles of this. So beautiful bouquet here. Truffle, red cherry liqueur, fresh rose petals. Very seductive. Even better on the second day. This 2009 vintage is very forward and drinkable, but it's still a Barolo. It still needs a time. You know, opens up very nicely on the second day in the glass. Like I said, still a bit tightly wound, but wonderful depth and structure for such an approachable vintage. A really solid core of cherry fruit, long and layered. Excellent juice. That's what we had to drink at our Piedmont tasting at Cafe Maxx. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.